But I've been to Singapore. I've lived there. I've worked there. I have seen the transformation. At one point, by the way, Tanzania and Singapore, we were on the same level economically. But look at where Singapore is today. A leader ought to have a vision. So that's number one. Number two, President Kikwete, former president of the United Republic of Tanzania, has been to many a symbol and an icon of what an effective leader is. And so for me, it was a great privilege and an honor to actually have him read the book and endorse it. And during the launching, but today, Musa, if you find me sitting in an aircraft and we're about to fly, get down that aircraft. Don't fly with me because we are bound for disaster.
I heard about something that as a leader, you should make others do the job and take the credit. What do you think about that?
And when I was working in Malaysia, I remember there's a time I went to greet my colleague first day at work. I'm so excited, Hey, hi! I wanted to shake her hand.
Yeah.
She refused. I felt so bad. It's like, why? Because I'm black? You must understand that in this journey, our journeys are different. Everybody has their own journey. So my journey is not Musa's journey. So that means the pace that Musa will be traveling on is not the same with the pace that I'll be traveling on. His destination is not mine. So this helps me not to compare myself with him. So avoid comparisons. You must understand your journey. But before you understand your journey,
welcome back to Make Your Own Destiny podcast, the podcast that inspires you to shape your future. Today we have a very special guest. If you're new here, please smash that subscribe button. If you're the OG, like this video. Actually, this guest is one of the very few people that I've met who are Tanzanians, who has his own book. His name is Jonathan Ndali. Let me not spoil what's in the book before you read it, but Jonathan himself is going to tell a little bit of what's inside. Just some summary so that you can go and buy and read the whole book. Anyways, let me not talk so much. We have Jonathan here. He came all the way from his house to the studio just to share value with everyone on this podcast. So, Jonathan told me behind the scene, he told me that this will be the greatest episode that we have ever done. So I encourage everyone who is watching to grab a pen and a piece of paper so that you can take notes. I don't want anyone to miss anything that will be spoken in this episode today. So Jonathan, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Musa. Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine. Very good.
I'm always inspired when I see books. I love reading books.
Oh yeah?
Especially personal development books.
Sure.
My life used to be a very, very dark place. Like I didn't know where I'm going. I had no guidance. But through books, they helped me a lot. Just imagine, people underestimate the value of reading books. But almost everything that I've learned in life, let's say 80%, through books. I remember the first time that a book sparked my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book changed my whole perspective on how I look at money, how I look at finances. Until today, I can say it helped me a lot. I cannot describe. I'm sure people who have read the book, they know what I'm talking about. If you have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, comment down below any lesson that you have learned from it. Then come and read the trail and come back again and tell me what you have learned on this book. So Jonathan.
Yeah, sure.
Before we dive into your life, who you are and stuff like that, what the book are about?
So the trail, like it says, back in the days, I used to live in Southeast Asia, and I used to love climbing mountains. And so we even formed a team of mountain climbers.
Okay.
We started hiking smaller hills, and then we wanted to climb many mountains and eventually Mount Kilimanjaro,
Okay.
and then the Himalayas. And so, yeah, we started doing that. And so I was picking lessons along the way. One of the lessons was that we never walked all together simultaneously.
Yeah.
Right? We would walk in a single trail.
Okay.
One person in front, then another one behind, just like that, no matter how many we were. And so I noticed that the trail was often narrow,
Okay.
filled with a lot of hurdles to navigate, insurmountable hurdles, right? Sometimes the trail, if it rains, for example, becomes very slippery. And then you'd find maybe perhaps would often encounter snakes, leeches, mosquitoes.
Okay.
And sometimes the trail is located along a cliff, and so it's very slippery. If you are not very careful, it's very easy for you to slide and fall.
Yeah.
But we went through all those hardships just to get to the summit. And I asked myself why. The summit is always very beautiful. You get a spectacular view of the city sometimes, like even here in Pugu.
Yeah.
You get fresh air. There's just that inner accomplishment that I have conquered this. And so I wrote the trail after having navigated many trails as a mountain climber. And so I have equated the hardships faced along the trail with that of leadership. So I say leadership is a journey. And just like the trail, leadership is also not easy. Sometimes it is very lonely. Sometimes it is very slippery. Sometimes you meet snakes, you encounter hardships and all of these things. But your ability to navigate the trail of leadership effectively is what's gonna ultimately get you to become an effective leader. And so I wrote this book just to share some nuggets and some principles of leadership. Any aspiring leader, any current leader, if they read this book, it will change their lives. Yeah, that's about the trail.
Yeah, for people who don't know,
Yeah.
I was actually surprised when I found out that this book was endorsed by the greatest president of this country,
Yes,
Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete.
absolutely. Yeah.
Just imagine. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was such an honor. I mean, President Kikwete, former president of the United Republic of Tanzania, has been to many a symbol and an icon of what an effective leader is, from his charisma to wisdom to his charms, and many of us young people look up to him. And so for me, it was a great privilege and an honor to actually have him read the book and endorse it. And during the launching, he was meant to be the guest of honor. In fact, I think he had some conflicting timetables, and so he addressed the mass using a video. But we are so grateful because he's such an incredible leader. He's one of the best. I mean, I would say that. So I'm humbled.
Actually, the way we started this episode is very unconventional, and we're not used to do that. But because I was so excited about this book,
Yeah, sure.
that's
sure.
why I had to start with this book. So,
Yeah.
if you're interested, just go get a copy. Even if you're not interested, I'm sure you'll learn a lot from this book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's get to know Jonathan.
Okay.
So, can you please share a bit of background about yourself? Who is Jonathan, and why are you so interested about being a leader and leadership?
Well, like you said, my name is Jonathan Ndali, born and bred here in Tanzania. And then when I finished my O levels from 4, I went to study abroad.
Okay.
So I lived in several countries. I graduated from Oxford Brookes, a UK university. I studied in Malaysia. I worked in Malaysia. I worked in Singapore. and a little bit of other parts of Southeast Asia. So that's Jonathan, briefly. But why leadership? So my mandate in life is very simple.
Yeah.
I believe I'm called to build people and equip leaders.
Yeah.
How do I build people? I build people through writings. I build people through seminars, through talks, through preachings. That's what I do. I build people, because I believe as a person thinks in his heart, so is he. So today, Musa, if you think you're poor, that's who you are. So you only grow to the level of your thinking, So I try to build people by helping them to change their mindset, mind transformation. Because if you can see it, you can become it. It starts from here, right? And so I build people and I equip leaders. Why do I equip leaders? Because I believe everything rises and falls under leadership. The words of John Maxwell. So if everything rises and falls with leadership, then that means leadership is one aspect of our lives that we can never afford to neglect or to take it lightly, right? Because with that, things rise, with that, things fall. So I have noticed that we often at times put people in positions of leadership that we have not prepared them. And so they are not equipped. They don't know how to handle people. They don't know how to lead. They burst and burn out under pressure. And so I come in and I equip them. And so how do I do that? I work with organizations, I work with corporates, and so I do training. So you can call me a corporate trainer, a coach, and the essence is really at the end of the day to create a better world for you and I. So I build people, I equip leaders, so that everybody can perform and function optimally.
Okay.
So that's me.
Yeah, that's great. And I think most people don't understand the value and the importance of leadership.
Yeah.
I believe everyone, whether you know it or you don't know it, whether you act like it or not, you're a leader. Because let's say you're a man, you have a family, automatically you're a leader.
Yeah, definitely.
So you must have qualities of leader.
Yeah.
So, and to have those qualities, you have to learn. It's better to learn from others than to learn from your own mistakes.
Yeah, true.
Because learning from your mistakes is very, very difficult. And why would you learn?
This is the best teacher.
Yeah, why would you learn from a mistake if
Yeah.
you can have someone
Yeah.
to teach you about leadership?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can learn from others, like from books. And they're saying, let's say that the more you learn, the more you earn. And I 100% believe in that, because I have a testimony myself, and I have that experience in my life that the more I keep learning, the more I keep earning. Back to the leadership.
Yeah.
What qualities makes a good leader? Or what qualities can someone have to be a best leader?
All right. So before I answer your question, let me add something there.
Yeah.
You said the more you learn, the more you earn.
Yeah.
So me, I'm giving you another one.
Okay.
This is what I believe. The more you learn,
Yeah.
the more you grow.
Okay.
The more you grow, the more you earn.
Okay.
Because earning, you only earn to the level of your growth. So if you've only grown up to this part, you only earn up to this part. And if you stop growing, it means you are dying. Anything that stops growing means it's dying. So you gotta keep growing. How do you grow? You learn, and then you earn more. So these are the yeah. So I will share a few things from the book.
Okay.
So in this book I've written, there are many qualities of great leaders. I mean, we can see leadership is a vast and broad subject.
Yeah.
We can list 1,000 of them, but I want to share 3.
Okay.
So in this book I've written about maps, modes, and minds. Maps, modes, and minds. Maps, I mean visions, right? A leader needs to have a vision of where you're going. And so this is one thing that really sets you apart as a leader. What is your vision? Because if you do not have a vision, it means you don't know where you're going. And if you're leading people, the question would become, where are you taking them? Because you don't have a vision.
Yeah.
So maps is or vision. A vision is really a mental picture of where you see yourself, of where you want to go. You see, in the equation of leadership, you have a leader, you have people, and you have the goal or the vision. So if we define a leader is someone who is able to effectively carry out leadership functions in order to influence these people to reach the vision,
Okay.
take them from one place to another. This leader causes what we call impact. Impact is an influence that leads to perpetual positive behavior. So these people act in a certain way or speak in a certain way that lead them closer to the goal or to the target. So it's very important for a leader to have a vision. So these is what I call maps. And in this book, if someone reads, you will see that I've given an example of Lee Kuan Yew, the late. He was a former prime minister of Singapore. That guy was an example of a visionary leader. I mean, there's so much we can talk about him. You can read all about that. But I've been to Singapore. I've lived there. I've worked there.
Okay.
I have seen the transformation. Singapore today, at one point, by the way, Tanzania and Singapore, we were on the same level economically. But look at where Singapore is today. So a leader ought to have a vision. So that's number one. Number two, I talk about modes. Or means. Yeah. Okay. So these are knowledge. Okay. Means or modes. The other word to that is knowledge. Now, suppose you want to go to Mlimani City.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you call an Uber. Or when I was coming here, right, you sent me a location, isn't it? So that's the map. I have the map. This is where I'm going. The following question is, how am I going to get here? You get the point? How do I get here? So what mode of transportation will I use? Am I going to drive? Am I going to walk? Am I going to run? Am I going to trek? Will I use a boda or dala dala? You get the point. So for a leader, this is very important because you see where you want to go. But the following question to ask is, how do I get there?
Yeah.
So you need knowledge. What type of knowledge do you want? Do you need to get to your destination?
Okay.
Do you need effective communication? What knowledge do you need to know how to deal with people? Do you need to know about emotional intelligence? Do you need to know the environment?
Yeah.
What is it? If it is business, do you need to know more about your product, about your competitors? What knowledge do you need in order for you to get closer and closer to your vision? And the last thing I talk about is what I call minds. So minds, when I say minds, I mean skills, right? It's one thing to be knowledgeable, but it's totally another to possess the skill, right?
Okay.
A friend of mine who is a pilot came home once. See me, one of the programs I love watching is called Aircraft Investigation.
Okay.
Aircraft disaster investigation. I've watched this program for more than 15 years.
Okay.
I see a lot about planes, about why they crash. They do the investigation, they find out what happened, they rectify the mistakes and make things better. So I know quite a lot about flying. So one time a friend of mine came home. He's a pilot, and we started conversing. As we were conversating, my wife passed by, and she made this comment. She said, if I didn't know you guys, I would say these are two pilots speaking, because I'm really good at that thing.
Yeah.
I'm really good. Talking only.
Okay.
I can tell you stuff, man. But today, Musa, if you find me sitting in an aircraft and we're about to fly, get down that aircraft. Don't fly with me.
Right.
Because we are bound for disaster. Because I can't fly. You get? So that's the difference. My friend who is a pilot can actually fly with all the talks, but he can actually fly. So that's the difference between knowledge and skill. right? So proper application of knowledge leads to skill. So a leader needs to have more than knowledge. When you read this book,
Okay.
you become knowledgeable. But if I talk about the ability to build and maintain long-lasting relationships, you need to practice that over time to develop a skill. If I talk about effective communication, you need to practice that over time to develop a skill. So 3 characteristics I would consider for a 21st century leader to have to become effective is maps, modes, and minds. Vision, knowledge, and skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. And actually, I'm so happy to be here as well because I'm learning a lot. I just regret I'm not taking notes, but I will watch this video again so that I can.
I hope I think I'm gonna watch it again too.
Yeah, because you are giving a lot of value, and I hope everyone who is watching is taking notes and is enjoying. Just comment down below, what have you learned so far from Jonathan as we are proceeding. You talked about having skills. I think that's a very big problem that most people have right now, because I've seen a lot of people who are always learning. You know, in this day and age, people don't really like reading books. Like if they need some information, they just go to YouTube, go to Rambo, go to Twitter. Yeah, they just consume content. Someone will go and learn, okay, let's say learn how to be a reader, how to make money, all of that, but they will never actually test those skills. They'll just keep learning and get into that loop. So when you told me like you must have skills, now it clicked like, yeah, this is the real deal. You know, having knowledge without having skills, I think it's just like having a gun without bullets.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you're very right.
Yeah, it's like it's useless. Yeah, it's crazy. Can you share a moment in your life that really shaped your leadership skills and your leadership style?
Well, a moment.
Yeah, in your life or in your career.
Well, there's been many, but actually, honestly, I don't think there has been one particular moment. I think it has been a summation of many experiences, an aggregation of many experiences over time. You see, we live life on levels and arrive in stages. So each stage in life presents us with a new level of knowledge, maturity, understanding, and becoming a better person. So because we live in different levels and arrive in different stages, so each stage that I've been, I've encountered something different.
Okay.
I've encountered a certain challenge. For example, I remember this one time I was climbing one of the mountains back in Kuala Lumpur, and there was a lady from a certain country. I can't remember, maybe Vietnam, I can't remember. So we climbed all the way to the summit. So when we were coming down, so it was a rainforest. The sun rays do not really come into the down where we were, because there's a huge shade from the rainforests, and so it's a bit darkish, and it was around 5 p.m., 5 going to 6. So the sun was actually setting and it was getting to be darker. And so this lady collapses on our way down. Imagine now we are very tired, very exhausted, dehydrated, and somebody collapses. And we're a group of about 20, 25 people, and we have to come down.
Okay.
And so for me, this was a moment that, you see, when everything is going well for leaders, it's very easy to applaud them. But when things go wrong, everybody stands aside and then now look at you for solutions. So the pressure becomes huge. And so this was the exact moment that I needed to, demonstrate some skills. I didn't know what to do. This person has just collapsed. I could have chosen to just ignore her, but I couldn't. There was this thing in me as a leader. that was pushing me to take responsibility. And this is another thing I want to tell leaders, that one of the things that will separate you from the rest of the ordinary uh, leaders is your ability to take responsibility. And so my friend and I, we had to pick this lady on our shoulders and navigate that terrain all the way to the base. So it was slippery, it was raining, and it was okay, it had rained in some parts, I think, during the day. And so at this time it wasn't raining, but it was a bit muddy and slippery. We navigated all the way down, and so this taught me a lesson, a big lesson that I live by today, to date, that leaders need to be selfless. They need to practice selflessness. Selflessness is that ability of living beyond yourself. I don't live for myself. I live for my neighbor. I live for you. I look after you. You get? So to answer your question, there has not been one particular moment, but it has been an aggregation of different ones. This is one of them. It taught me selflessness. There are many others that taught me humility. There are many others that taught me wisdom. There are many others that taught me, brace yourself, resilience. There are many others that taught me effective communication. I remember this one time I was working with a company in Singapore. For example, your name is Musa, right? You've got MUSSA.
MUSSA.
So imagine I write you an email and I write MUSA. I forget one S. And so this...
That's a turn off.
You get, right? So this client went ballistic.
Yeah.
And she wanted to sue me.
You only had one job.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that's another experience that taught me effective communication.
Okay.
In fact, I had to take a course by Matthews International. The course is called Write It Right. Write It
Right.
Right. WRITE RIGHT. 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 So there are many others. So I would say it's been an aggregation of different experiences that has made me who I am today.
Talking about misspelling someone's name, you reminded me a lesson from one book that I read. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
So in one of the chapters, he said that a person's name is the sweetest word in any language.
That's very true.
Yeah, so
that's very true.
Whenever you are saying someone's name, and actually you have to give people good names. Don't call people bad names. And whenever you're pronouncing someone's name, make sure you do it right. Yeah, because the sweetest
words are powerful, man.
Yeah, it's the sweetest word in language.
So yeah, such experiences, man. Yeah. So always remember, we live life on levels and arrive in stages. So each stage in life presents you with a new opportunity to learn, to grow, to become better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in every aspect of life, there are strategies. You don't just go and approach something blindly, or you get lost. So what strategies should leaders employ to foster a culture of innovation and creativity within their teams?
This is a very good question, and I love it because if leaders can actually pay close attention to what I'm going to say, I think many of our organizations, many of our teams here in the country and everywhere else that people are listening will do exceptional. In fact, I've written this in my book, and I want to share something small, right?
Okay.
From the book. So I talk about innovation in this book as one of the traits of triumph, right? For leaders. And when I talk about innovation, I talk about two things. I talk about creativity and critical thinking, right? These are the things I believe from innovation. Now, I've listed a couple of things, but for leaders to become more innovative and promote a culture of creativity in their teams, I will share three things that I've written in the book. The first one I said, leaders need to promote an open and creative work environment.
Okay.
A work environment that allows for freedom for their teams in their thinking, operating, and creating. You see, I've worked with many organizations. I train organizations, I train companies. One of the things I've noticed is that there is no freedom. My friend, you work like a slave. So you can't think freely. All you think of, Musa, is let me get to the job early, start my work punching, start the job at 9, finish by 5, bounce. Let me go to work and be with my family. See you tomorrow. End of the month, I receive my paycheck. Now that's really bad because you can't create in such environment. You can't think critically in such environment. When I was in Kuala Lumpur, I went to Google offices in Kuala Lumpur, and I was amazed by just the interior design. In fact, there's one year Google Kuala Lumpur was rated the best office in the whole country.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? Now imagine you're working in terms of just the environment at the office. So it's very important. Now, Google is one of the companies that, when we talk about innovation and creativity, I think we need to give it to them, along with other companies, for example, Apple, But one thing I noticed about Google is that they allow their developers to work on their own projects at least once every week, right? So this gives someone freedom to become creative, to think, and we've seen results. For example, Google News. So we've seen that, oh, this works. But I'm not asking leaders to do this based on their own context. They will know what to do. But I think things that leaders can actually applaud in creating and promoting a culture of creative work environment. The first thing they can do is they can try to foster a culture of open communication.
Okay.
So things like open communication, a culture of positive attitude, and a culture of low stress environment.
Okay.
Because you don't want to go to work, there's that Sunday night syndrome that you go to sleep thinking about Monday. I don't want to go to work, man. Like it's like you're going to hell. Anyone who is listening here, if that's you, leave that office. It's toxic, because that's how people get high blood pressures. You need to enjoy your work. That will help you think and become creative. Number two, leaders need to ensure a culture of positive reinforcement.
Okay.
So number one, prepare a conducive environment for people to think critically, creatively. And number two, positive reinforcement. Put things like rewards, bonuses, special privileges, compensatory time and prizes, all these things, right? There's one time in my office I needed ideas. So I told my team, for any great solution provided, you get between $5 to $10. This kept people on their toes to think, like, I want that $10. Yeah. So it's just, it's a motivation factor for them. Yeah. So they don't have a choice but to think, right? Yeah. So I promoted critical thinking. People did researches so that they can get the money at the end of the day. So positive reinforcement. This is one thing we're lacking. Go to all these offices here in Tanzania and find for yourself. But we keep complaining, we keep doing trainings every day, but very simple things we don't do. The last one is encourage diversity. So we are all wired differently, Musa. We have different backgrounds, we have different beliefs, exposures. One of the great characteristics of a great leader is the ability to use other people's brains.
Okay.
Come to the table, sit down, ask people to think.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed. There's something we call cross-pollination.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed by the ideas that would come from their heads. Amazing things. When I was working in with this company, a Singaporean company, we used to call ourselves a mini United Nations.
Okay.
We had more than 40 nationalities represented. Can you imagine the amount of ideas if we sit on the table? But the problem is, leaders these days, first of all, they don't want feedback. They don't want to listen to other people. So sitting down to use other people's ideas and beliefs in order to create something spectacular, they don't want to do that. And so that hinders innovation because there's no critical thinking, there's no creativity. You can even do small things. One company I was working with, believe it or not, they had something called a sleeping room. So you come to the office, you work.
Okay.
There's a sleeping room, a room maybe 4, 5, 6 times this size.
Okay.
There's a heavy carpet down there, and then it's pitch black. They've put like heavy curtains like these ones,
Okay.
black, and then you have cushions, very soft.
Yeah.
So when you are tired of working and it's lunchtime, because they always say, if you don't want to go for lunch, go and sleep.
Okay.
So lunchtime, people go and sleep. Take a 45 minutes power nap, come back refreshed, work. So small things. I'm not asking people to put sleeping rooms, but there's just so much you can do to foster a culture of innovation. We're talking about innovation, right? There's an office I went to train in South Africa. My friend, sausage, choma, heavy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Everything is there in the fridge. Go and eat anytime you want. Just produce. You get the point.
Yeah.
So there's just so much. But our offices today, it feels like a living hell. You don't want to go to work. Sometimes man, it's crazy. If I begin to speak here, man, we won't finish. So there's no innovation. How can you innovate in a cell room?
Yeah.
No, you can't. You need an environment that fosters creativity and critical thinking. Yeah.
Talking about thinking, most people underestimate the importance of thinking.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's crazy the way that you can think and grow, because everything starts as thoughts. So we must have that habit of thinking for ourselves. And most people that I've seen, they don't think. They do things without thinking. I'll give you an example. They do things because we are used to doing things. Let's say I wake up in the morning, I just go without even thinking. I just go and take the toothbrush, brush my teeth, have breakfast. That's because I'm conditioned to do that. But I didn't think of I'm doing this right now. Or right now, let's say I'm walking. You can't be thinking okay, right now I'm thinking that I'm walking.
It happens subconsciously. It's already registered.
Yeah, it's already registered. So you don't really think, and you can find yourself during the whole day, you have thought a little bit. You don't really use your brain that much.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
when you think, what you can do is unimaginable.
Amazing.
Yeah. And one of the richest guy in the world, Bill Gates, he actually has a room in his house. He calls it the thinking room. Yeah.
That's where you just go and think.
Yeah, just go there and think.
And what I've noticed also, even in this country, people don't think. I told my wife the other day, I said, we need to schedule a day in the week just to think. You just think. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's amazing the things that will come from thinking. And let me use this platform.
Yeah.
Make Your Own Destiny as to pose a challenge for any leader who's listening to me.
Yeah.
whether you're leading a team, whether you're leading an organization, an entity, whatever it is,
Yeah.
find strategies, make plans to foster a culture of critical thinking and creativity at your work. You can have half a day for thinking. You can have a special room for thinking, for meditation, for just create that ambience in your office and watch what happens. We look at people like Google.
Yeah.
We admire them. But it's amazing the investment they put in thinking and creating. We look at people like Apple. It's amazing the things that they do when it comes to creativity and critical thinking. I always tell people, Apple does not sell products. They sell experiences. That is why there's someone who's been using from iPhone 3, 3GS, 4, 4S until today, iPhone 15. They're still, you understand? It's that experience. Yeah, we can get there. We just need a room to think and create. Yeah.
Talking about iPhone, iPhone has the best experience than Samsung. I know people will argue about this. Let me know, what phone are you using to watch this episode?
Oh, sure.
A Samsung or an iPhone? Yeah, if you're using Techno, don't comment. Sorry, Techno people. Yeah, you can't comment here with your Techno.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, I heard about something that as a leader, you should make others do the job and take the credit. What do you think about that? Is it fact or trash?
Make others do the job and
Take all the credit for the job.
oh, that's trash, man. That's trash.
Okay.
That's high level selfishness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you compliment your team after they achieve big things with you being a leader?
Here's the principle I abide by. When your team wins, they take the glory
Okay.
or the accolades.
Okay.
If your team or when your team messes up, you, the leader, you take the responsibility.
Okay.
So it's always about them, not you. It's always about them, not you.
Okay.
And this, I believe, is one of the greatest principles of great leadership. I always tell people, you see, man, you want to go from Dar es Salaam to Arusha. You're driving, but you don't want to change the tires, you don't want to service your car, and you're expecting to get to Arusha safely. It's impossible. Maybe only by God's hand and His mercies, but otherwise, you're bound for disaster. You want to have great milk from a cow, good beef, great meat, but you're not feeding that cow. You're not giving that cow grass, water.
Yeah.
You're not taking good care of that cow. How do you get good milk? How do you get, good meat? You can't. So it's always about the other person. I see a lot of companies here, for example, here in Tanzania, they advocate customer service. We are customer centric. We are customer centric. We are customer centric.
Yeah.
Fine. You can be customer centric. Customer is a king. Yes, that's beautiful. But without your staff, without your team, those customers will not be happy. So imagine you're prioritizing the customer, which is very good. The customer is bringing in money, but you're neglecting your team. You're always, demeaning their efforts. You're always sabotaging their work, and you're expecting them to perform better to please the customer. It is impossible. It can't happen. But look at companies around the world or teams around the world that they are elevated and they're taken good care of, look at the results. It comes without saying.
Yeah.
It goes without saying. It happens naturally.
Yeah.
You take good care of the cow, you feed that cow, milk will come, meat will come.
Yeah.
It's just like that. You get the point? So if your team wins, they win. You celebrate them. If they make a mistake, take responsibility. Help them. Yeah.
It's very, very important working together as a team. I actually remember just yesterday, one of the greatest players, Neymar, he actually won the cup with Al Hilal yesterday.
Yeah.
Without even playing. Maybe he played 2-3 matches, but because they were a team and he was injured, his team still carried him upwards.
True that.
So Jonathan, there's something called exposure, which is very, very important. That's why I always encourage people who are listening to this podcast that they should travel. They should travel to other places. Yeah, if you have a bit of cash, travel, go abroad, go to Kenya, go to Malaysia, go to Singapore, go to Dubai. Yeah, because you learn a lot about other people. You learn a lot about other cultures. If you can't do that, just travel within Tanzania. You won't believe what you learn. You learn a lot of stuffs other than just staying in one place. You'll be limited to what you see in just that one place.
True that.
So, in terms of leadership, as you have worked in different countries, in different people from different societies, what differences have you observed in managing teams across different cultures and industries?
Two things. Culture, the differences that I've observed. Culture and the level of exposure.
Okay.
I believe when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Okay.
So when you go to a new place to work,
Yeah.
you see, you have to understand what culture is. Culture is you remember this word, Form 2, Form 1? Culture is a total way of life of a particular people living in a particular area. That's culture. You can't change culture. You are an outsider. You can't. It takes time. You face resistances. So the best you can do is to adjust to that culture.
Yeah.
And as a leader, this is one of the things I talk about in my book.
Yeah.
Flexibility, agility, and adaptability. Agility, the ability to move fast and quickly.
Yeah.
Adaptability, the ability to adjust, with the ongoing circumstances. Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had COVID-19. It required leaders to become adaptable to that situation. And so culture is one of them. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. I'll give an example. When I was when I was working in Malaysia, I remember there's a time I went to greet my colleague first day at work. I'm so excited, Hey, hi! I wanted to shake her hand.
Yeah.
She refused. I felt so bad. It's like, why? Because I'm black? I said, no. It has nothing to do with your skin color. It's just that in her faith, she doesn't shake hands with men unless family members or husband. And I'm like, okay, culture. So can you imagine something small like this?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how detrimental it could be if not managed? There's a time I was leading a team in a certain organization.
Okay.
There was a man from Africa and another man from Asia. I will not name the countries.
Yeah.
They came to me. They were in a fight. I said, calm down. What's happening? Let's solve this situation.
Okay.
So the issue was this African guy was sitting, crossing his legs like that.
Yeah.
Right? So you see the sole of my shoe is pointing at you.
Yeah.
So the Asian guy, to him, this was an insult. That, hey, this shoe that you're using to walk, to go to the toilet, that's so you're pointing it on me. That means you are telling me my face looks like the sole of your shoe.
Yeah.
I was astounded. I was like, what on earth is this? How do you solve such an issue?
Yeah.
This is why in my trainings, right? Because I do corporate trainings, this day I've decided to embark on cross-cultural intelligence. So you need to know some of these cultures that you're working with. So some of the differences is culture.
Yeah.
And culture can actually promote your leadership or can actually bring it down if not managed. The second is exposure. Exposure is very important, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You can only speak and act to the level of your exposure.
Yeah.
The less exposed you are, the less substance you will have. The more exposed you are, the more substance you will have. As simple as that. So when you are leading people who have no exposure, it becomes very difficult to inject change because they don't see what you're seeing. It's like you're standing on the 70th floor and I'm standing on the second floor.
Yeah.
You are telling me, can you see the Indian Ocean? And I'm like, no, but there's an Indian. No, you can't see. We're arguing, but it's just because we're standing on different platforms. So this is exposure. This is lack of exposure. So exposure is very, very important. I've dealt with different people and I've seen that exposure really matters.
Talking about different cultures and hardships, it's very crazy. I remember there was a time I was in Turkey. I was trying to explain something to someone, and I was telling them, like, in Tanzania, we have a lot of bananas over there, something like that. And everyone was looking at me like,
what are you doing?
Man? Yeah. So for them, doing this means you're gay.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not supposed to do this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You see now.
Yeah, it was.
Imagine you're going to sign a business deal.
It was very.
Yeah, we're going to make a lot of money together. And the deal is off the table.
You'll be so so embarrassed.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even this one time, you said you have lived in Indonesia.
I've been there.
So Indonesian people, how they do it. So I was with this girl one time in one place. It's called Nusa Penida. Yeah. So we went there and we ordered like food. Those people, when you bring food on the table, they eat very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast. Like you can just go and wash your hands. You come back.
Food is gone.
Food is gone. But now we Africans, we eat like very slow. You eat less, speak a word or two. They're like, you guys are lazy. That's why you don't even develop. If you spend 20 minutes on eating, like who does
I've
that?
gotten that comment before. I think I've gotten it before.
Like who does that? You have to eat like very fast. Like culture is very important.
That's why you're not developing. You're too slow.
You're too slow.
Interesting stuff.
So Jonathan, being a leader is being a mentor as well at some point. So why do you think mentorship important, and what role does it play in leadership journey? Yeah,
that's a very, very, very good question. I always say this, and I think I've written it in my book. The best way to reinforce learning is to teach. Now, mentorship is one of those platforms that you reinforce learning because you teach someone else. I think for me, the idea of mentorship has not been well presented, and so people do not understand mentorship, and they think mentorship is an act. But for me, mentorship is a journey. It's a relationship right? It's like you're having a guide. It's like having a coach. That's mentorship. So, who is a mentor? A mentor is someone who's been there, done that, right? And is helping you walk that trail or navigate that path. As simple as that. Now, mentorship is so important, so much so that LinkedIn last year, 2023, ranked mentorship as the number one learning and development program, right? So we see that mentorship is. I did a research. Why is mentorship like that the way it is? And I'll read some findings here, right? Um, let me read for you. So I found out that the first thing is this: the subject of mentorship is not very common in our society. People don't really know about mentorship. The second thing I found out is that mentors are reluctant to embark on the journey of mentorship for many various reasons. One of them is complacency. The second reason is lack of seriousness. The third reason is the know-it-all attitude of the mentees. So mentors say, you know what, these guys are not serious. Bruh, I've had people who have texted me, emailed me, called me. We want you to be our mentor. We need you to mentor us. They don't understand the idea. They love the idea. They think they know, but really they don't know. So you get all these calls. So this year I decided to come up with a certain program to open up, to mentor people.
Okay.
So the first thing that someone says, I need a mentor. Can you mentor me? I'm like, okay, cool. So that I know you're serious and you're not going to waste my time. Go and buy my book, read all of it. Write a summary of each chapter, right? Once you've done, because this book, at the end of every chapter, there are questions. Answer those questions, write a summary, short summary of each chapter, what you have learned, and what are you going, the action plan. What are you going to do to apply? And then give me a summary of the whole book, if you are to put it in few simple lines. Many people have come. None has done it, at least yet. So this tells me that you're not very serious. You like the idea. Musa, great guy, well known, So if I associate with you, there's somehow I will benefit, but not really the idea of learning. And so another issue with mentorship is that I've found out, this is a research I did to a few people. Mentors are too busy and they have limited time. So I don't have time for you. I'm busy. I'm also pursuing my things. I'm busy. So there is that. But there is also that there's no access. Today, you look at someone doing very well, you want them to mentor you, but you don't have access to that person. So there's always this, I would say, conundrum, right? There's always this thing. So how do we navigate from there? I think the best thing to understand here is people need to know why mentorship and what mentorship will bring to a success, because it's like a guide. You want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, no matter how many times you've climbed, you need a guide. You need somebody to take you there and bring you down. You need that. So I'll quickly highlight benefit number one of mentorship. It sharpens your skills, because a mentor is someone who has been there, done that. So they know if you're running slow, they will tell you. So in essence, they are sharpening your skills. Number two, they will help you with directions. You navigate through that terrain, through that path, the trail, you get lost. Your mentor tells you, no, don't take a left, go straight. So it saves you a lot of time. Another thing is it helps you maintain focus and motivation. Sometimes, bro, the going gets tough. We've all been there. It's tough, it's difficult. But you need someone to tell you, you can do this. Come on, man, you can do this. Stay focused. Sometimes distractions come. Someone tells you, hey, focus. There's a bigger picture here, you know. In Swahili wanasema usiteme big G kwa karanga za kuonjeshwa.
Yeah.
I don't know if you put that in English, but you see, you cannot make permanent decisions for temporary situations. Essentially, that's what it means. But it also helps you become responsible and accountable. You need someone who tells you, don't do it, don't go there, and you must be able to listen to that person.
Yeah.
But also they provide solutions, financial solutions, they provide ideas, they provide so many connections, because these days all we want is connections, but not, so a mentor is very important. And for you to become effective in your journey, in life, in leadership, in anything that you do, you need one.
It's very important, as I said, to have mentors and connections. But first, you have to be serious about it.
Yes.
By being serious, most of the time it means you have to put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
As Jonathan said, people came to him for him to mentor them, but they're not ready to do something to be mentored. Just a simple example, just reading a book. Someone cannot just read a book just to be mentored. Yeah. And talking about that, we have an event for connections and mentorship. For people who don't know it, we have Connectors Club. We are hosting a very big event. If you want to connect with people, if you want to get mentored, first of all, buy your ticket. It's going to be on 20th July, and we're going to have Vusi Tembekwayo on the event. So just grab your tickets, grab your early bird tickets right now. They're on sale. It's not free because, as always, you have to put your money where your mouth is. But I'm sure when you come, you learn a lot about leadership, you learn a lot about networking, you learn a lot about connections, and you'll have a lot of personal connections because a lot of people are going to be there. So if you're interested in meeting like-minded people, just grab a ticket and show up at JNICC on 20th of July. So I hope, Jonathan, you're going to be there as well.
I hope so. Most likely, yes, I will.
Yeah. You're going to have two events. You're going to have one event at JNICC, and you're going to have a private dinner.
Yeah, that dinner, I saw the dinner.
Yeah. So
I want to eat.
So this is my special invitation for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to young aspiring readers about managing the balance between professional and personal life? Because most people are struggling to find that balance, work-life balance. What advice do you have for them?
Well, I would say two things. Number one, set priorities. And number two, follow them.
Okay.
Respect them. We don't balance because we don't have priorities. Jack of all trade, master of none, though people debate about what I've just said. But the point here I'm trying to make is you can't just be doing everything at every time, right? You need to set priorities. Professional work is professional work. Personal life is personal life. There is time for each one of those. So you need to set your time correct. You need to set your priorities straight and adhere to the priorities that you've set. This is what I do. What I'm telling you is what I live. Okay. I have a wife, I have a daughter.
Yeah.
I get very busy. I deal with everybody else. I do a lot of trainings. I travel all over.
Yeah.
But when I come home, in fact, I even have a home office in case I need to do so. And my daughter knows, my wife knows, when daddy is there, he's working.
Yeah.
You've got, come on, man. There's life after everything else.
Yeah.
So you just need to set priorities and follow them. Be strict about them. Yeah.
You heard from the leader himself, Jonathan. Have priorities and be strict about them. So, most people like to hear about the good side of people's stories, but not the challenges. I remember we had Dr. Ibrahim Chenza in one of our episodes, and he said that he has gone through a lot of challenges in his life, Most people see him right now. He's driving a Range Rover autobiography, or he's driving SVR, and people think that he had no challenges. He just emerged out of nowhere. And he was like, no, I didn't emerge out of nowhere. You just saw me out of nowhere. But I've been here. I've been hustling. I've been struggling. I've had a lot of challenges that most of the time I don't talk about them because people don't see them, and people don't like to see challenges. People just like to see the good stuffs, the products of the challenges. So from your experience, can you talk about a challenging situation that you've faced in your leadership life, and how did you navigate it so that it can help someone who is watching right now?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I always tell people want to see the glory, but they don't want the story.
Yeah.
And so I always believe for every testimony, there's always a trial. For every message, there's always a mess. For any glory that you see out there, there is always a story behind. And so even in the journey of leadership, it's not always been that smooth. It's been tough, it's been challenging. But I think generally what I would say is leaders need to have something I call emotional intelligence to navigate through the hurdles. And so one of the challenges I've faced in my leadership journey is encountering people that are not emotionally sensitive.
Okay.
Right. And so I want to encompass this as I want to package this as emotional intelligence. So I remember there's a time I was training a company in South Africa, and there was a lady. I don't want to say where she was from, but I told her this. She was very there was no emotional connection.
Okay.
To the people she was leading. And I told her this. I said, if you keep leading these people like this, I think I'm giving you maybe 1 year.
Yeah.
You will have to shut this company. And she said, why? I said, because nobody's going to work for you. I said, no, you are Tanzanian. You don't. I said, listen.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where I'm from. It's very simple. One, people are creatures of emotion. People are creatures of emotions. Failure to understand this is crude. People are not robots. We are emotionally beings. Of course, we have logic, but we are emotional beings. So if you touch my emotions negatively, you're going to get a negative reaction. If you touch them positively, you're going to get a positive reaction. Same goes to customers and everybody else.
Yeah.
So I encountered this challenge, and I told her that. Within 1 year, less than 1 year, that company shut down. Why? Because of failure to handle people's emotions. Now, allow me to go, to dive into, expound a little bit about emotional intelligence. Would you?
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I think this is a very sensitive topic because emotional intelligence is what we call the sine qua non of leadership.
Okay.
Sine qua non is a legal terminology that means without which not. You get the point?
No, I don't get the point.
Okay. Let me put it in a layman's term.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence is absolutely necessary for leadership. That's what it means. You can never be a leader without the highest level of emotional intelligence.
Okay.
You will fail. You know why? Because you're dealing with people, not cows, not robots. So when you deal with people, you have to understand that people are creatures of emotions. Even customers, when I teach about customer care, I talk about emotional connection, emotional intelligence. Very, very important, but very neglected. Now, very quickly, there are 4 elements to emotional intelligence. Many scholars and researchers have tried to break them down, but I will share four. These are the components. Self-awareness. This is the ability of you, Musa, understanding your emotions, your strength, your weaknesses, your triggers, and the impact your emotions have on your team or others. So this is self-awareness. I'm aware of my emotions. But being aware of your emotions alone is not enough. You need to have self-management or self-regulation. Regulate your emotions, manage them. So you might be working with a team of people. Somebody says something that offends you.
Yeah.
You don't have to come and bash them out. You contain yourself. There's one incident happened. I think there's one minister sometime, maybe one lady, she was giving a speech from a certain ministry. And then someone came with a note. I don't know if you saw that video. Came with a note saying maybe 5 minutes left or your time is up. She read that note. She went ballistic. She felt insulted. She felt so bad. And she said it on the microphone. You can't do this to me. And then she left. So the minister of that particular ministry was there. So he had to exercise one of the highest, I call, levels of emotional intelligence. So containing her, and he actually went and tried to please her and say, hey, we're sorry, just, these guys, they don't know any better. Just bear with them, you know. I think I'll send you that clip. Okay. So you see, if you can't control your emotions, if you can't manage your emotions, brother, you will cause chaos.
True.
There's one interview I wrote in my book. I can't remember if I wrote it, but I think, anyways, I won't mention names. There was one president who was asked by his son, Dad, people are saying all kinds of stuff about you. Why are you not reacting? Why are you not sending them to jail? Why are you not doing anything? Do you know what the father said? He said, my son, I'm the president. I have all the power and all the authority. If I want to jail everybody, I'm going to jail this whole country. But sometimes as a leader, you just need to be able to control and contain your emotions. The third thing is, once you've known everything about you, now you move to others. Understand their emotions. This is what I call social awareness and social management, right?
Yeah.
Emotions of others and how they manage the emotions towards you and towards everything else. And I'll give you a scenario. If you have noticed, I'm talking about leadership, but I've not been talking about position or title.
Okay.
I'm talking about leadership in general, because for me, I believe leadership is not position, or leadership is not about titles. You can be the CEO of a certain organization, but you're not a leader. You're in fact very poor. This is why even the president can appoint someone in a position of power, but after a few months nullify that appointment.
True.
Because leadership is the ability to effectively carry out your job, your responsibilities in your job. So one day I was driving from Dar to Arusha. I was with some friends. Get to Moshi, there was a lady with a baby crossing the road. I don't know where she came from, bruh.
Yeah.
I have no idea. All I know, Hamad, she's here. Either I hit her or I try to maneuver the car. So I tried to maneuver the car. We tried our best. The good thing is it was a good car, so it really handled the maneuvering. And then we came back to the tarmac. Everybody else outside was like this, because they thought and knew this is a hit. How I missed her, I have no idea. And then we had two police officers in front of us. This happened right in their watch. So 4 things happened here. I was in panic. I was in shock. You know, when you've missed someone, right?
Exactly.
You're confused.
Yeah.
The lady who almost got hit, she was also confused.
Yeah.
The masses, the people around us, they were also confused.
Yeah.
They were shouting, "Well, what happened? What's happening? Why are you driving like that?" And then we have the police officers. Now, everybody in this situation
Yeah.
is looking at the police officers as the leaders, right?
Yeah.
And then this lady comes. I parked as it is custom. I had to wind down the window. I'm panic, bruh, freaking out. You know what she said to me? And this is the greatest lesson of emotional intelligence for any leader in such a chaotic situation. She looks at me and then she says, "Wow, what a driver."
The lady that you just missed?
No, the police
The
officer.
police officer, okay.
Technically, you would think she would come to me and say, "Why are you driving like that?" You know the stuff, right? She says to me, "Wow, you're one of the best drivers I've seen. You are an incredible driver. Congratulations." She started clapping for me.
Yeah.
Without your maneuvering, you would have hit this lady.
Yeah.
That moment, bruh, I turned from a victim, a potential criminal, to a hero. Can you imagine my emotions at that moment? She knew how to play psychologically with my emotions because she knew I was panicked. The only way to calm this guy down, is to praise him. So she praised me and I felt so good. And then I came down and then now she started talking sense. She said, "Now, next time, be careful, 1, 2, 3." And I marked those words. And she let me go because she knew I was going to Arusha. I still had more than 50 kilometers
To go.
Anything could happen. And so this is a big lesson to leaders. When a situation happens, you need to be able to contain the emotions because you have a long way to go. If you break everybody's emotion now, if you hurt everybody's emotions now, you may not be able to perform optimally. You may not be able to produce. There is tomorrow. So this is a greatest lesson. If you learn how to understand emotions, you become effective in your leadership. Because that's why I said emotional intelligence is the sine qua non of leadership, without which not. Absolutely necessary if you want to maneuver successfully. There you have it, man.
Man, that was a great story.
Yeah.
And from that story, I can understand that you are facing a very difficult situation, and the situation was life and death situation. You had a lot of decisions to make at that point, as you said, either to hit the lady or just go off-road or go around the lady. But you made a decision, and the decision turned out to be the right one, although you was under very big pressure. Yeah. So that just shows how great of a leader you are, because at that point you are reading a car and you are with people in the car. So normally, how do you handle decision making under very big pressures, especially when you're faced with uncertain financial situations?
That's a very good question, my brother. You see, I've written my book here.
Yeah.
Decision making, I'll call it an art. So it comprises 2 or 3 things. Number 1, you have a list of choices.
Okay.
Circle the best answer. Choose the best answer. Once you have chosen the best decision, it's a quality decision. You have choices. Number 1, you present choices. Number 2, you select the best choice. Number 3, select it timely. So decision making is not just the ability to make quality decisions, but to make quality decisions timely. Time is of essence, my brother, because you can make the right decision, the quality decision that you wanted to make, but wrong timing, or you've passed that time that you needed to make.
Yeah.
So often at times I focus on these things. Just calm down, present what are the possible options. go straight, go left, go right.
Yeah.
Once I've picked the best of them all, I know this is my shot. I make it timely. Because with decision, I'm not saying you will always be right. There are times you'll be wrong. But when you're wrong, you've learned. You rise up and you take up the responsibility and move on. But you've got to make the decision. Yeah. So time is of essence. Picking the best from the possible options is another one.
The keyword here, decide and make the best decision and mind your time. Because from the story that you just gave, you made the decision to go around the lady on time. So if you're late, we would have been talking about some other stories. Maybe you wouldn't have been on this podcast today. So learn to make timely decisions. So what are your plans for the future with being a leader and your book? Since you are an author, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Well, they still ask those questions.
Whenever I ask someone this question, I had a guess were like, my dad said I should not share my dreams with other people.
Interesting. Well, obviously, I want to get to as many people as possible. I want people to read this book, as many people as possible. It's on Amazon. They can buy it on Amazon. They can buy it on Lulu, lulu.com. They can buy it. They can buy an ebook on lulu.com as well. They can visit my Instagram pages, YouTube, social medias, get the numbers and purchase. But also they can get this book from a bookstore. Currently, it's at Sky City Mall, opposite Mlimani City Mall. It's called Bookworm Bookstore. So my plan is to push this book as much as possible. Probably next year, I'm going to launch another book on leadership. We'll see how it goes. But I have many books, so this is the time to launch them. So that is one. Two, I want to keep on fulfilling my vision, keep on fulfilling my mandate, building people, equipping leaders. So I'll keep on writing. I'll keep on speaking to as many people as possible. I'll keep on building leaders. And so this I see myself doing for the next foreseeable future. This is my mandate. This is my calling. So I'll keep doing it.
As I said, guys, go get the book. As you know, on this podcast, we always promote and we always talk about the importance of reading. As you know, the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you earn. We're going to put the link to the book down below in the description so that you can grab your copy right now. Make the right decision timely. Make the decision right now. Don't buy it tomorrow. When you hear this, just get it right now. You might be late. Make timely decisions because time is of essence, my brother.
True that.
So what else do you have to share with the audience that's going to help them as we are winding up?
Here, do I look at you or at the camera?
The camera.
I'll share two things. The first one is you must understand that in this journey, in this leadership journey, our journeys are different. Everybody has their own journey. So my journey is not Musa's journey. So that means the pace that Musa will be traveling on is not the same with the pace that I'll be traveling on. His destination is not mine. So this helps me not to compare myself with him. So avoid comparisons. You must understand your journey. But before you understand your journey, know who you are. Your mandate, your weaknesses, your strengths, your values, your system. Become aware of yourself. Once you are aware of yourself, then understand your journey, understand your assignment. Your assignment is different. So stop comparing your life with someone, stop comparing your financial statuses with someone, stop comparing your achievement with someone. Everybody travels at their own pace. Lastly, I'll give you an example. If I'm traveling to Zanzibar and Musa is traveling to Dubai, it will take me 15 hours from Dar es Salaam to Zanzibar, but it will take Musa 6 hours from Dar es Salaam to Dubai. If I reach Zanzibar and I pick up my phone and call Musa and his phone is not reachable, and start complaining, why is this guy's phone is not reachable? Why is he not here yet? That would be absurd, because he is traveling to a longer journey. Our terminals are different. I would take off from terminal 2. Musa will take off from terminal 3. So you must understand you're on a separate journey. Your journey is unique. Own it up to yourself. Stop comparing, and keep learning, keep reading, keep learning, keep growing, keep earning. Yeah. Yep. Keep reading, keep learning, keep growing, keep earning.
There you are.
Yeah.
You heard. We have a lot more to talk about, but time is limited. So if you want Jonathan to come here again for part 2, just comment down below the trail, and also go get the trail, man. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, and peace.